Well, good morning and welcome to Houston Food Bank. We are here to celebrate Harris County's support for helping Harris County, all the county, get on its feet, get to work, taking care of families who are in need. And they really have done a wonderful job of helping Houston Food Bank as we've had to deal with the consequences of the pandemic, not only in terms of need, but of our ability to serve that need. Normally, Houston Food Bank, most of our work here, the physical work here, is done by volunteers. And so when the pandemic hit, we had two challenges that hit us at once. And one was elevated need, and the second one, we lost most of our labor force as people were not able to work here. We designed this building to be able to have over 1,000 volunteers at once working, and we were down to the point where we were lucky to get 50. Harris County stepped up to give us money so that we could hire people temporarily so that they could keep the food flowing, and this is what's enabled us to step up. And that would not have been possible without the support of the Commissioner's Court and Judge Hidalgo. And I just want to introduce now two of our favorite county commissioners. This is Adrian Garcia and Commissioner Rodney Ellis. And Commissioner Ellis, I think you are up.
Thank you. I want to say how much we appreciate the folks at the Houston Food Bank. They do a great job. As he mentioned, it was really devastating. You take Harvey and then the pandemic, and so many great people who were accustomed to volunteering for obvious reasons were just afraid, and they couldn't come. Commissioner Garcia, my colleague, the county judge, all of the folks on Commissioner's Court were finding ways to be creative on what they could do. In a lot of ways, Commissioner, I was following your lead. You were coming up with so many creative ideas. I told my staff, you better think of something because Commissioner Garcia is thinking of it all. And I remembered working with the food bank many years ago when I was a young staffer for Congressman Mickey Leland. He's very close to the Keegans. And so I figured, well, why don't we just do something in our precinct to get some of our employees to go and do it? And when I put it on Commissioner's Court, Commissioner Garcia was the first one to say, Ellis came up with an idea finally. So he said, me too. Precinct 2 wants to do it as well. And then all of our colleagues signed in. But you've had tremendous support from Commissioner's Court. The most recent investment from the county of $3.9 million brings the Harris County investment to a total commitment of $15.8 million. That total investment equals 47 million meals to Harris County residents in need between March 2020 and April 2022. The Houston Food Bank obviously needs more volunteers to get the food out. If you can help, if you can volunteer for at least a few hours, or if it's 30 minutes, we'll encourage you to come in and do that. Commissioner Garcia and I are going to do it in a few minutes. One of the highest requests during the pandemic as a result of economic challenges has been the need for food. As families continue to feel the impact of months without work due to COVID-19, all of Harris County commissioners are committed to protecting people who are still struggling. I've said many times when I've gone to these events, I've seen a lot of people in food lines, in cars that indicate they did not plan on having to be in a line to get food. So it's important. We want to encourage you to do it. From my precinct alone, I just want to give you the numbers. Since April 2020, 14,599 Houston Food Bank food boxes were delivered to residents in Precinct 1. Over the last 18 months, our staff sorted, packed, and distributed Houston Food Bank boxes. This effort had an impact on 30,000 households in my precinct alone. And the numbers are comparable in all of the precincts. And Commissioner Garcia's, I think, even a bit higher than that. But we all have need, and I'm just so glad that we could do it. When I leave here, I'm going to go by Hester House, where we're still doing weekly distributions. And with that, I want to bring up my dear friend and a great county commissioner, Commissioner Adrian Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Ellis and Brian. Thank you so very much. Let me just very quickly say that if not for the food bank, so many families would have been so severely devastated. I mean, they already were. But imagine adding food insecurity on top of that. And so for that reason, I'm so grateful to the Houston Food Bank. But obviously, we cannot take the Houston Food Bank for granted. It's critical that we recognize that if we want to serve those in need, we have to help those who provide the resources to help our families. It was phenomenal during the pandemic to see our operations, as Commissioner Ellis alluded to, that we converted our community centers into mini food banks, distributing food on a daily basis to children, to children who had depended on their schools for that daily meal. But then it moved over to the community centers. But also to recognize that the supply chain, the conversation about the supply chain is a real thing. It's no longer about just moving boxes. It's about how do we get food to the kitchens of the families who need it the most. And the Houston Food Bank has persevered. They've stood fast. They've been strong throughout this entire time. I'm glad that Commissioner Ellis, has able to put about 16 million of the resources that we've gotten into the Houston Food Bank, and we'll continue to do everything we need to do to support the Houston Food Bank. They've been there for us. We need to be there for them. So again, if you can volunteer, volunteer. Your time is money. But if you cannot give your time, then give your money. We need both of them. But also, lastly, let me just thank Brian for your leadership, for that of your team, but that for the countless volunteers that continue to help the Houston Food Bank run their daily operations. Without your help, we would all been suffering even much more so. But with that, I just want to again congratulate the Houston Food Bank. I want to thank Commissioner Ellis. He has been not the best looking cheerleader, but he is the #1 cheerleader for the Houston Food Bank, and I am proud to follow his lead to support this great organization, because it does provide so much help to families in my area. And Precinct 2, I'm not proud of, but I often talk about the fact that I have amongst the lowest medium income. I have amongst the highest number of children and families without health insurance. I have the highest number of renters versus homeowners. All that ends up creating an incredible conundrum for families. Roof over my head or food on the table. Medicine or roof over my head. And everything we've been trying to do through this pandemic on Commissioner's Court is try to address each and every one of those. But food insecurity is still a major source or major issue of contention, and the Houston Food Bank helps us deal with that. So again, thank you. Thank you, Brian. Claro. Unas brief words in Spanish. Commissioner Ellis will also make some words in Spanish.
Yes. Sí.
Estamos aquí para apoyar el Houston Food Bank por todo lo que están haciendo. El comisionado Ellis indicó las tantas familias en el precinto de él que el Houston Food Bank llegó a ayudar. Pero nosotros en el precinto 2 llegamos a repartir alrededor de 4 toneladas de comida durante la época más fuerte de la pandemia. Y sabemos que este grupo, el Houston Food Bank, está haciendo tantas cosas buenas para nosotros, para ayudar a las familias en necesidad. Sabemos que muchas familias no tienen los recursos, la comida para darle el alimento a sus hijos, a sus familias, y por eso precisamente nosotros hemos repartido alrededor de $16 millones al Houston Food Bank para ayudarles a mantener las operaciones que ellos han llevado a cabo durante la pandemia. Sabemos que muchas familias estaban sin comer, pero era el Houston Food Bank que nos ha ayudado a la Corte de Comisionados a repartir la comida que ha sostenido las familias durante todo este tiempo. Y lo vamos a seguir haciendo. Y también les quiero suplicar a todos, por favor, si pueden ser voluntarios para el Houston Food Bank, hazlo. Su tiempo es dinero para este grupo que hace tanto para nosotros. Si no pueden dar su tiempo, entonces den su dinero, porque necesitan todo para mantener las operaciones. Ellos llegan a trabajar por voluntarios y por donaciones, y hay que apoyarles en esa manera. Gracias.
Yeah, that's if we could do. Why don't we step this way? So, I won't. Oh, it's okay. Do I need to use the mic? Or is it wired in? Okay. So one of the things that we're particularly proud of is Houston Food Bank. Our mission is Food for Better Lives. and we see ourselves in the bettering lives business. And a lot of that means also, it's not just that we look at, oh, it's hunger, it's like, how do we best utilize this food to make the most difference in the people that we're serving? But also, we just want as good a life as we can for everyone. And one of the things that happened with this labor agreement that Harris County did, where they're funding us to hire people temporarily, is we got to know a lot of great people that we realized we wanted them permanently on our team. And I think we're almost at 24 people have been hired as permanent staff members, and we have 2 of our representatives right here, and so I wanted them to join us in the presentation.
Thank you.
Rebecca and Eric, if, let's see, Commissioner Ellis, should I take it out? I'm worried about breaking it, but all right. It's pretty. We have this beautiful apple in recognition. Thank you so much for all you've done for us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll make it happen. Commissioner?
I was going to get you an orange, but it's an apple too.
Hey, I ate them both.
Commissioner Garcia,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is very nice of you. Yeah, we're gonna keep those
And
boxes.
you get the box too. 'Cause that stem in particular does not look like if you dropped it.